Welcome to Wings of a Phoenix podcast. I'm your host, Trena Briscoe Matthews, and I am so excited that you decided to spend some time with me today. I want to talk to you a little bit about why this podcast exists and what to expect. This podcast exists because I wanted to make sure women had an opportunity and a space where they felt seen and heard and worthy of love and care and understanding. And as we go through different seasons in our life, and especially those seasons of change, we need a space where we can feel safe and we can explore different questions and we can just relax and be ourselves. And that's why the space was created. So, again, especially for anyone who is navigating change, and this could be anything from going through a divorce and your role is changing, your identity is shifting. You may be a mom who is in the process of a divorce, and you understand now that you're going from a two-parent household to now you are going to be the head of the household as a single parent, and that's different. And you have to change with that situation. So, this is a space where I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel seen and heard. And like I said, we'll have an opportunity to explore different topics and questions and emotions. And really, we're going to just speak truth. And we are going to be gentle with one another and give each other grace. Really just I wanted this to be a space where you feel comfortable and understood. Because oftentimes as we're going through these seasons in our life when things are shifting, where our identity might be shifting, where our circumstances are shifting, we don't necessarily have people at the ready to talk to about this. And so that's why I created this space. You might be wondering why I'm doing this podcast, why I'm the host. So, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, about my background, and how I see myself in this role. I am a phoenix. I have walked through the fire. I have been transformed, and not just personally in my personal life. I'm going through a 20-year plus marriage, but also professionally in what used to be my corporate career. So I was married, like I said, for about 20, 21 years. I got married fairly young, around 24, and I married someone who I had been dating since college, the beginning of college, and someone I grew up with. Basically, I knew him in elementary school. And we had a marriage like many people do. We were happy and then we weren't. We had good times, we had bad times. We do have three wonderful children who are all young adults now, and I am very grateful for them. However, the marriage itself, since we were married young, I believe part of the issue for us is that we grew apart. And sometimes people get married young and they grow together, and sometimes you get married young and you grow apart. And in our case, we definitely grew apart. And in that marriage, a lot of things happened when I look back at just who I was in the marriage and who I am now. And a lot of me was lost in that marriage. And I think a lot of things were compromised. And I made a lot of concessions to keep the peace. And partly because my ex definitely had a personality which I would describe as narcissistic and high conflict, which made things really challenging when it came time to parent our children. And as it turned out, through the divorce, co-parenting was really not an option for us. And so my default there was to go to parallel parenting. So that was one fire, and that was one transformation, and that was one Phoenix experience. And then I would say the other Phoenix experience was definitely through my professional and business life. So I started off my career, my professional career after college. I started off with the public sector, and then I moved into the private sector recently. And I will have to say that, and partly, I believe this is partly because I am a Black female. And unfortunately, even today, we still don't have as many Black females in spaces in corporate America as we should. And my first career was in the intelligence business. And trust me, there were not many people, many females that looked like me in those spaces. My second private sector career was in a tech company. And although I am not a techie myself, again, there were just not that many people who looked like me in those spaces. And the last position which I left was very interesting because it ended 2 days before my 59th birthday. So 2 days before your birthday, your company lets you know that you're not as valued as you may have thought. But I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And I was not happy there. And that was obvious. So I am actually, and I was actually relieved and not resentful. I definitely had some issues in the process and how things unfolded, but in terms of where I am now, I am so grateful and so thankful to be doing something that is more aligned with my spirit. It's more aligned with what I believe I should be doing to help others. And, coaching actually brings me joy and it's fulfilling. And when I can see the positive impact that I'm having on women, that is just so much more fulfilling for me. And I am in such a better place than I was looking at, even when I had, big accomplishments, either in the public or private sector. This is just on a different scale. So that's why I'm here, to share with you some of my experiences through my life experiences. And now you've got a little bit more about me and you understand me a little bit better. So before I had the clarity that I do now, there were seasons where I just didn't quite know what was happening. And I just want to take you back to that time now. So I want to talk a little bit about the preseason. And the preseason is the time before your change will happen. So it's a time when you are, just like if you think about a sports or any kind of athletic event, they have the season that they're in, and then they have a preseason. And in the preseason, you're doing all the things. You are trying to prepare because you can feel in yourself that there is something changing, and you're doing the work. You're saying the positive affirmations. You are doing all of the self-love mantras. You might be journaling, you might be doing some meditation, and you're noticing that while you are starting to feel happier and more positive, you still might not quite be there. And there's still some things that seem a little off, and that's okay. This is a process. And what you have to just understand is whatever pain and whatever challenges that you've been through, They probably didn't happen overnight. And so this preseason does not last just 24 hours. It is probably something you're going to have to go through. And I know for myself, what I had to understand is while all of these things were great, they were only hitting a certain part. They were only touching the surface level of the pain. And the pain was deeper than that. And so I had to go deeper. It wasn't surface level pain. And so I was trying to put a band-aid on something that needed open heart surgery. And while it was helpful, it was not the complete picture. And so while I was doing the work that I knew to do, at the same time, I just had to understand that the pain and what was going to be required to heal that pain was going to be deeper than what I could do just on the surface. So I believe the universe sends us signals to help guide us, keep us away from danger, give us warnings. And sometimes we are tuned in and focused and we pay attention. Sometimes we are tuned in, focused, and we ignore. And sometimes we are just not tuned in, or we will just shrug things off as being not as important. So, the way this usually shows up with the universe is the first inkling is very subtle and it is easy to ignore because, again, it's very subtle. And I like to say, I'll use the analogy of a pebble. So, you may get a pebble. And, pebbles are small, they're tiny, they're not that significant. So you may just ignore that. And then you may get a rock that's put in your place, put in your path. And they're a little bit harder to ignore, but still, it's not that big. You can probably step over it, keep moving. It's not going to hurt you or anyone else. And then, if you still haven't changed direction, if you still seem to be on the wrong path, the universe will send you a boulder, which, of course, you cannot get over. You can't get around it. You can't get under it. You just have to stop and deal with it. And I've gone through an experience like that. I was having pain, slight pain in my ankle. And for a while, I was able to ignore it. Then it got to be a little more severe and I couldn't ignore it anymore. And so I tried to figure out what was going on. It did take me a while to get to someone who could help me figure out what was going on. And by the time I realized what was wrong, as it turned out, I had a pinched nerve. And it I had let this go on for so long that there was really no solution to fixing it other than surgery. And so, although I did not want to get it originally, as it turned out, the pain was just so incredibly strong that I had no other option because I just couldn't go on like that. I wasn't sleeping. I was irritable. I wasn't smiling. I was, very curt with people because I was just in so much pain. It was all I could do to just get through the day. But what happened with the surgery is that once the surgery happened, the recovery period was about 3 to 4 months. And I'm talking 3 to 4 months of no bending, twisting, or lifting. Okay, so just let that sink in. Think about your normal daily activities. And now you cannot bend, twist, or lift for the next 3 to 4 months. So it causes you to stop and be still. And sometimes we need that. We need to stop and be still and reevaluate the situation. And that's what I had to do, during that time period when I wasn't on very strong painkillers, which that was also a part of it. When I was lucid, I was able to just think about, okay, how in the world did I let myself get to this point where I can no longer take care of the kids? The kids are actually taking care of me. I can't do my job because I am on pain medication most of the time. I just had to sit and be with myself and be honest about the fact that this situation I was in was definitely of my doing because I had been doing so much for so many people for so long that I had truly ignored my own care, my own self care. And that was a very pivotal moment for me. I had to really reevaluate how I was living my life and my idea of wanting to be of service to everyone and forgetting that I needed to be of service to myself first. It really honed in and hit me that I've got to take care of myself because if I can't take care of myself, then I am of no good to anyone else. There is no one more important that I need to take care of than myself. Then I can be of service to others. But without that, I can't. So I learned a very, very important lesson. And it's one that I think as women, we forget all of the time because we are very much nurture mindseted. I don't know if that's even a word, but we are very much concerned about taking care of others. Okay. And we have that nurturing mindset where we want to make sure the household is in order. We want to make sure everyone at work is doing fine. We want to make sure all of our friends are doing well. We want to do this, that, and the other thing for everybody else. And we have to sometimes be forced to stop and do things for ourselves. So I hope that you don't have to go through what I did in order to make you stop and understand how vital and important it is to have self care and to take care of yourselves. Because really, we are of no service to anyone else if we're not taking care of ourselves first. I want to talk a little bit about the Phoenix moment. And a Phoenix moment is when you decide to claim agency over your life and you decide to choose yourself. And for me, and I've had several Phoenix moments, but this one in particular has to do with my divorce. And we have been separated for some time. And it was during a phone call, actually, that we were having. And at the end of that phone call, I took a deep breath and I was like, not once on that phone call did he ask how I was doing. Not once did he ask about the children. And I seemed to be the only one interested in this marriage. And not only that, but I'm already taking care of the kids all by myself. So if I am already by myself, maybe I just need to be by myself. And for my own peace and for the peace and health and of the children, I decided, yes, I need to go forward with a divorce. Now, I am not advocating divorce, but I am advocating choosing yourself always, because that choice is an act of self love, self preservation. And I think that it should not be viewed as anything selfish. It should be viewed, again, as you taking care of yourself and you ensuring that your safety, your peace, your happiness, your joy can be intact. And that's what I mean by a Phoenix moment. just really deciding that it is well within your right to choose yourself, and there should be no aroundness that are negative because, choosing yourself, especially when there are kids involved, is important because you can't be the best mom, you can't be the best friend, the best sister, the best person, even in your profession, if you are not willing to put yourself first. And this is a critical point because, again, we're talking about a marriage for myself. We were talking about a marriage that had been going on for 20 years. But it was also a marriage where I was starting to feel like I was alone and I was doing it by myself. And I'm just the type of person, if I'm going to be by myself, then let me just be by myself. It made sense to me. And that was, it was not an easy decision, but it was the right decision. And choosing myself was a right decision for me. It was a right decision for the kids. And when I made that decision, by no means did I have all the answers, but I trusted what I knew. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the in between season. And when I say the in between season, what I mean there is that's that period when things seem to be fine. You look great on the outside. I mean, hair is done, nails are done, face is beat, outfit is on point. You look fantastic. And you are functioning. You are showing up at work. You are showing up at social events. You are doing all the things. Yet, on the inside, something is still off. Something does not feel right. And I'm going to give you an example. So, for me, and this is just one area of my life that I want to share right now, but for me, this hit me at a time period where I was progressing in my career at work. Things were pretty much, I was functioning just fine at home. I was in a job where I was making six figures. And one day I just said, "Excuse me, girl, but why are you still in debt?" And I was like, "Yeah, why am I still in debt?" Like, I am making six figures. It wasn't like I was in debt because of necessity, because I wasn't bringing enough money in the house. And I really had to just stop and think, what is going on here? There is something that is off. And for me, I had to be really honest and with myself and just face the fact that my relationship with money and my mindset was that of someone who was operating from a place of lack. So it felt normal and comfortable, even though I know this sounds weird, but it felt normal and comfortable to be in debt because was all I knew. And to not be in debt was not an experience that I had ever had. So even though I was making enough money, I still was making decisions like someone who didn't have and who was operating from a place of lack. And I think that can happen in different areas of our life where, we're able to function. I mean, we can still pull it together for the kids, we can show up for the friends, we can still do all these things and we're functioning, but functioning doesn't mean we've transformed. Functioning means we're getting by and we're doing what is expected. But sometimes, even in doing that, we have a misalignment going on in our lives. And I was still living beneath my truth. And so that was a realization for me. That was a turning point where I had to really stop, take stock of what I had been doing, all the things I had been telling myself, look at how I was introduced to money, what my understanding of money, abundance, debt, worth, self-worth, All those things were tied up together. And that was just, again, a time where I had to stop and say, look, this does not make any sense. Why is this happening? And recognize then, once I understood why it was happening, and then be really truthful to myself about what I was going to do to move from where I was to where I wanted to be. Okay, so what is actually required to rise as a phoenix? What is required when you're on the rise? What does that look like? What is required there? I want you to just go with me on this for a little while here. We are all beings that are made of mind, body, and spirit. And so when we are rising as a phoenix, we have to have alignment. And that alignment is essential. And that is the alignment between what our minds are thinking, the actions our bodies are taking, and how it feels within our spirit. And so let's go back to, a while ago I was talking about your preseason and doing the things in terms of the self-love mantra. So let's just take that one example. So when you started saying that your mantras, that's your body working, right? You're saying the positive things, you are hearing what you're saying, you are your body is doing its part. Okay. Now, when you first start, and everybody's different, but when you first start with self love or positive affirmations, your mind may or may not believe what you're saying. Your body is saying it, your mind may still be skeptical. So there's a misalignment there between your body and your mind. Now, your spirit knows the truth. So your spirit is already aligned. So you've got two things working in your favor. Your mind may take a little bit of time to get there. And on the rise, all three things have to be aligned. So it is a process. It does require time. It also requires self-awareness. So you have to be really conscious of the thoughts that you're having, and you have to so conscious of them and so self-aware that when your mind wants to drift off into something that is not on message, that you can catch it and you can, and you can reframe those, any type of negative thoughts or anything that doesn't align with where you're going. And you have to be so committed to doing this that it's just a non-negotiable. Like, you are not going to be available for anything that's not moving you forward, that it's not helping you grow, that it's not positive and aligned with what your body and your spirit would have you do. And this requires also that you are going to have some faith. And for those who believe in a higher being, then this is the time where you're going to trust on that faith, and faith in God, faith in the universe, faith in divine spirit. And for those of you who don't believe in a divine being, then at least believe in yourself and at least have faith in yourself, because you are going to be asking yourself to believe things that you may not have seen yet. And that absolutely requires faith. And really, it does require you to pay attention to your thoughts, because again, you want to be making sure that what you are saying is aligned with what you truly believe. So that's your mindset, and what you will know to be true at your core and in your soul and in your spirit. And when that alignment is in place. These are all things that you can't see these things. These are things that are happening internally. But when that is coming together, that is what is required for you to be on the rise as a phoenix. If you are divorced or you are in the process of divorcing or you are anywhere on that journey, then this podcast is for you. If you are in a career that is literally draining the life out of you, you have that angst in your stomach on Sunday nights, like I did, this podcast is for you. If you are feeling completely exhausted because everyone is pulling from you, your career is pulling from you, your children are pulling from you, your family and friends, and possibly an ex is pulling from you, then there's something here for you. If you are showing up for everybody else in your life and you can't even remember the last time that you did something nice for yourself, then this space is for you. All of those things that I've mentioned, I've been there and I understand. And I want you to have some place to come where I get you. So again, I understand there's a quiet strength within you that maybe others don't see or haven't recognized. And you may even have to dig deep to find it yourself. But the fact that you're here and you're listening tells me that you do have that strength. You do have that quality. And I just want to be there for you. If you heard something today that made you think, oh my goodness, finally someone gets what I have been feeling, and you understand now that this is just a season that you're going through, and you are not alone, and what you're feeling is real. You are in the process of becoming. And just the fact and the awareness of that is already progress. So I hope that as you listen today, this episode helped you see that what you've been carrying is real. You're not imagining it. I understand because I've been there. You are not here by accident. Okay. You have found your safe space. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about myself and my journey. If anything at all that I said resonated with you, then I hope that you will return and to explore more. If something in you is beginning to ask different questions and you feel ready to explore more, that's where we're going to begin next time. So until then, be gentle with yourself, give yourself some grace, allow yourself some time and space and patience, and know that this space will be here when you return.